Hello everyone, I'm Gary Supreme from Sacktown Slam. And by the way, just to get this out of the way, please subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and any comments you'd like in the comment section. Now, I have two big announcements, or not announcements, but two things I want to talk about. And, the first one I'll get out of the way. The second one is probably going to take up the bulk of the video. So, the first announcement is that I am having surgery on Friday. So, that may slow down the pace of these videos a little bit. I'm going to try and tape maybe one or two of these today. And then that's it. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. Healing takes its toll, and surgery also takes its toll. So, it's going to be a very interesting road after today. The other thing that, I wanted to talk about, I guess, before I go to that, basically what's happening with me is they're opening up my chest, and it's an outpatient surgery. They're replacing a battery that needs to be replaced for a certain device. VNS, vagus nerve stimulator, look it up. It's for seizures, so that's what's going on. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is of much greater importance. Well, a week ago, the world decided to just completely get turned upside down. And when I say get turned upside down, I mean upside down. Now, yes, we've all probably heard the word coronavirus one time too many. So I will avoid trying to use that as much as possible in this video. But what I am saying is this. I have seen pictures of people doing spring breakouts in Florida and California. Really? Well, I get if you're young and you don't care, and then you suddenly pass this stuff on to someone who's elderly and they die. Yeah, you're going to care. I don't want to freak everybody out, but we've all heard about what's happening in Italy, that they literally had to quarantine the entire country. Same thing happened in Japan. This is all around the world. From California to New York, to both parts of Canada, to every country in South America practically, maybe not every. We don't have confirmed cases, which I use that term very loosely because we don't know how many people have this damn virus. We don't. And the number is a joke. The number of deaths are a joke. And I don't mean that on the low side. It should be way higher. So, to me, we're just being fed information just to be fed information. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm not a news anchor, and I'm not working with facts. But, something this bad, going back through the history books, hasn't happened since 1918. That's insane. So, what are you gonna do? And I've seen things just shut down And I mean things that don't even normally shut down. Like, I mean, everyone kind of thought E3 was gonna be shut down for other reasons anyway. They were getting a lack of attendance, and people have complained here and there about what's going on with that convention. But then you start seeing things like the NBA and what happened with those guys on the Utah Jazz. And now they may have passed it to other teams. So NBA has either... And nobody can say for certain what it is. But at this point in the season, I would say the season has basically been canceled for the NBA. I mean, it is over. So, because normally the NBA Finals are in June. What, do you expect them to play the NBA Finals in August and then come back 2 months later? Like, I'm not feeling that. Just cancel your season. No one's gonna look at you bad for it. And just get it over with. Same thing with the XFL. And the XFL's ratings are a joke. They really are. You know, I'm all for football that's not, like, uber flag-oriented like we've seen in the NFL these last couple of, I don't know, months, years. So, but come on. Are you really gonna just say that your season's been postponed? It's over, Vince. And I'll get back to Vince in a minute. Then we've got the NFL draft postponed. We've got all kinds of things going on that are being postponed. NASCAR, pretty much that whole season was scrubbed. The Masters at this point scrubbed, but I don't think the whole PGA Tour necessarily this year could get scrubbed. You've got all kinds of things being scrubbed. Hold on a minute, I need to keep my phone because people keep trying to message me. I hate it when people try to sit there and message me during this whole video process. It is rather annoying. That might not have been the smartest. So, anyway, you have all of that happening. Not to mention, you have had... What else has been canceled? Well, actually, spring break has been canceled, and the opening pitch, basically, for the MLB season has been postponed. And then, of course, you have probably my favorite topic, Wrestlemania season. Because, folks, it don't feel like Wrestlemania to me. Now, this is where wrestlers, this time of year, is usually where a lot of wrestlers make the bulk of their money. And a lot of companies make the bulk of their money because they plan things out to be in the spring and the summer. Their second quarter earnings are going to get hit with every company hard. New Japan, completely just no New Japan Cup this year. You have all kinds of cancellations from Ring of Honor. You have all kinds of cancellations from WWE. You have all kinds of cancellations from Impact. Like, I'm honestly, and AEW now is having to, change to the new norm. And I don't know, I mean, as of this taping, Dynamite has yet to air. So I don't know what in a few hours from now is going to look like. It's kind of sad because they were going to release who's in charge of the Dark Order, which supposedly may be Matt Hardy. I don't know if that's the case. He did leave a pretty cryptic thing on WWE.com, like the truth is out there or something, and wrote it upside down. Like, okay, but you're not with the company anymore. So unless you just got snubbed by AEW and came crawling back to WWE, why would you even send them a message? I don't get it, but whatever. You know, either way, you're looking at quite possibly one of the worst springs ever. I just, it's like a ghost town out there. I swear to God, I woke up in the zombie apocalypse. I woke up and it was Walking Dead. I'm not even joking. And now there's talk, because obviously WrestleMania, I mean, they are now saying they're going to have it at the Performance Center, because God forbid you postpone something, Vince. But, and that's the only time I will ever call out Vince McMahon in that way. I love this business, and maybe someday I would love to be in WWE, but Vince McMahon is... why? You were talking about ditching the network anyway. So, is all of a sudden the network looking more lucrative to you now that everyone's going to be stuck at home? Are you not still shopping it out to ESPN? Because I know they're hungry for content now that FIFA has also canceled their season. I mean, what are you going to do, Vince? Everybody's backs is against the wall right now. Everybody's. So, you could come out looking like a saint, or you could come out looking like the devil, which normally you do. My hope is that the fans who built this company, the fans who buy tickets to your shows like yours truly, and the fans who sit there and have bought your merch like yours truly, and have sat there and stuck by a lukewarm product like yours truly, despite its many, many flaws, I would hope that you do not sell us out after this type of problem. And I think the reason Vince isn't just saying, hey, we're going to sell WrestleMania, ha 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 ha, now you have to pay to get it. I think the reason that's not happening is because that would backfire on him immensely, even under these circumstances. Because people are already stir-crazy, kind of pissed off about what's going on, whether it's politically or personally. I mean, they're already talking about shutting down poll places in places people are about to vote. I mean, California's already voted, so this isn't going to affect me. But, mamma mia, the number of places that have yet to vote and still want to vote, despite the fact that, you know, whether you love the guy or you hate the guy, I'm not going to even give you an opinion on that, but Biden won. So let's just be done with it and save the people the sorrow and the possibility of risk of being, contaminated. I mean, people are being told to stay home from work, yet I have friends who are in the business of in the grocery business, and they're having to work 11-hour days, 6 days a week. They're literally having to guard the doors so that they do not go over capacity in the store and create a fire hazard. That's insane. So Vince, don't do it. The other thing that's crazy about this WrestleMania season, and that I think is most important about this WrestleMania season, is that things need to be presented differently, especially if you're going to give us a different type of presentation with no fans. I think you remove the fans, and that removes an important element to professional wrestling. The pop of the fans is a big, big thing, and WrestleMania, no exclusion. I mean, we watch 60, 70,000 fans just lose their minds when the Hardy Brothers came back to WWE. We watched, 100 some odd thousand people lose their minds when Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank on Roman Reigns, covering him for the pin for the title. I mean, those were some big moments, and those were just very recent. I think last year's show was a thumbs-up show. 35 was a decent show. 36, and this is the sad part, they did a lot of building for certain people, for this WrestleMania. I mean, you look at what they did with Otis and Mandy. I mean, love it or hate it, it was something that worked and something the fans were invested in. Now I don't think that's going to see that great of a payoff. And Jesus Christ, you look at Drew McIntyre, the guy who eliminated Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble. This guy could potentially win the title with no fans in attendance. I feel so badly for that guy if that ends up being the case. I mean, how are you even going to gauge fan reaction? Granted, the opinions of the fans have been almost non-existent, so I guess in some ways it's not that bad. I really feel like it won't mean as much without that big pop, because that's what WrestleMania is about, is those big pops throughout the night. Granted, and nobody, and I hope to God this doesn't happen, but nobody is going to watch an 8-hour WrestleMania with no fans in attendance. I'm sorry, but you're not selling me on that. That is very much a sell. Like, you keep this thing to 4 hours, like 8 to 10 matches max, and you put a max time limit on anything that is not a title match to 10 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to lose the fans. They're going to get bored because there's no noise. With these empty arena shows, the only background noise we really get is the music and the commentators talking. And you notice this past Monday how they put Asuka in commentary. It's because she was good background noise for when the other commentators didn't know what to say. I mean, that is how desperate this company is getting for just noise. And because they're just not getting noise or reaction, thus they don't know which way to go. And that may be another thing. Like, they may go one way, and the audience may have wanted it another way, and they may get an extremely toxic reaction on God knows what social media platform you use, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. You know, it could be bad. So, there's why they're not postponing that, I just don't know. And I mean, come on, you gotta believe that Vince and this whole pirate-themed Wrestlemania, he probably bought a $100,000 pirate ship. I mean, don't you think he'd probably want to use it? I mean, later on in the year, you know, June, July, it's not like they're going to stop him from coming to Raymond James Stadium. It's not like the NFL is playing then. So, again, why not use SummerSlam? Or even make a bigger spectacle of Money in the Bank? And then just, you know, make it a big pay-per-view. I'm not really sold on this year's WrestleMania, and it's really very depressing because the build already was bad, and Saudi left a very bad taste in people's mouths. This happened, which was very much not on the company. This is the kind of shit you just can't control. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. So, but this is just going to have a residual effect on top of everything else. And I just think people are going to tune out of WrestleMania and just look at the results. I honestly, but then again, you know, people are looking for things on TV to watch, and there's really not much to watch. People are saying this could be the time where, you know, the streaming services really, you know, start hitting people hard. I mean, it's apparently Apple TV or something like that is giving people 2 weeks free for a 2-week free trial. Like, if these streaming services start doling that kind of stuff out, you know, I'm waiting for Disney Plus to buckle under that kind of pressure. I'll do it for free. But, yeah, I mean, pressure is mounting on a lot of people to either cancel or postpone just because they're going to lose a ton of money. Another case in point, the comic book industry, they're getting hit hard right now because they can't hold any type of trading card game tournaments, not a local or a regional. And you've got, you know, all the Smash Brothers tournaments. They can't hold those either. You can't have big local gatherings. And there are some cities here in California, as I've said, that are just quarantined. It is literally, I feel like saying it's the end times, but it's not quite that bad yet. But it's gotten people very stir crazy. And trust me, none of us wants to be in this position. None of us. But, you know, we're all in it together. So, I mean, if you're not already washing your hands like crazy and using, you know, crazy amounts of hand sanitizer, I would suggest you probably start using it and doing that. So, don't risk it. Another thing that I think people could probably take a cue from, too, is that, you know, it personally has just sort of bothered me how much the news has been amping this up. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Everything is ending. Do you know why? I mean, I'm sure everyone's kind of looked at the stock market. Okay, and that has, literally almost lost 10,000 points in the last 2 weeks. And then I heard, I believe this was on Yellow Flash's channel, but on his channel, he was talking about Disney shares, since they had to shut down Disneyland last week, have gone down like $50 a share. They're trading around $100 a share right now, which is really low for Disney. Like, someone with the right amount of money could come in there and scoop them up, and guess what? You now own Disney, Disney Plus, Marvel, Star Wars, the whole 9 yards. I'm waiting, because this is... a lot of people were like, well, when is this supposed, economic bubble gonna pop? Who'd have thought it would have been a pandemic, right? I mean, when everyone has to stay in and no one can spend money, that's what happens. We can't spend money, therefore people don't make money. Therefore, the people that make money cannot pay people, and then the whole economic house of cards begins to crumble. So, and the government has spent $3.7 trillion, and that's with a T, trying to keep the stock market afloat. I mean, if that doesn't resonate with you on some level, trillion is like something, I believe it's 12 zeros. That's a lot of money. So, I mean, as we see this continue to devolve, over how long this is going to devolve for, I would just suggest that, don't be greedy. Because when you're hearing about people wrestling over toilet paper and everything, be kind. Be courteous to everybody, because we're all in this together. This isn't a you thing, this isn't a me thing, this is a we thing. We have to go through all of this together. And the more that we decide to work together on this, and not think that we're Julius Caesar and have to stab somebody in the back to get what we want, the better off we're going to be. Because everyone needs basic essentials. The fact that people online are starting to sell toilet paper that they've hoarded is pretty low, and it is a new low point, I think, in our the history of the human race. But I will say this though, it's funny. Because all this toilet paper that people have hoarded 6 months from now will be absolutely worthless. So, I just want to say that to those that have like a garage full of toilet paper. You probably grabbed one too many. So, and the same goes for food. Be kind, be courteous to people out there. Don't hoard food just to hoard it. Because, again, I have friends in the grocery industry, and they're having problems restocking as fast. The supply is not coming in fast enough for the demand, would be the basic way of saying it. So it's very important for everyone to just understand we're in this together. And, it sucks for everyone else, but all these other big sports leagues and everything like that, I mean, I hate to say this, outside the NFL draft and all of that, newsflash, they all are still getting paid. So, we, the average, Joes and Janes of the world have to, cope with this kind of on our own. Now, my opinion is the less you freak out and the less you turn this into a point of contention with other people, the better off you're going to be. Now, should you still, sanitize yourself several times a day? Yes. Should you be more quarantined than usual? Yes. I mean, I know it's spring break time, but look, if all the colleges are shut down and K through 12 is shut down for the rest of the year, do you really think that sitting there and doing the things that you would normally be doing on spring break is a smart thing to be doing in these times? It's probably not. So the honest truth is that everybody should be, having at least an air of caution with everything they do. I mean, that's why you see people going around with masks and gloves. I mean, I know it seems silly. Everybody's got rubber gloves on and medical masks, but, everyone should be allowed to err on the side of caution and should err on the side of caution. So, I've seen some people almost mocking this situation, which, yeah, we can mock the toilet paper hoarders because, needless to say, they'll have plenty of toilet paper to get through this, but when it's all over, they're going to still have plenty of toilet paper. It's just, it's not an effective way of getting through this situation as a whole. I think that, wrestling is a very unique situation because with all these sports leagues that have been canceled, I have, and WrestleCon was canceled, and the owner may end up going bankrupt because it went canceled. This was based on a report from Solomonster that he did just yesterday and put up there. So, that's pretty crazy. So, and again, it's just another example of victims of circumstance here from all over. Like I said, several movies, like the new James Bond movie, it had to cancel its scheduling, for film scheduling, and that had to be moved from coming out in April to the end of November. There will be no Marvel films released this year. That is the first time that has happened ever. Or at least since 2008. I don't know what to tell you guys on that one, because that's pretty crazy. Like, everything's pretty much moved back indefinitely. Like, Fast 9 was supposed to come out, I think, in May. Now it's not even coming out until probably July of next year. And that's July of next year. Then you've got you have just tons of other movies and shows. A lot of things that were Marvel related that were going to be on Disney Plus are going to get delayed. A lot of things that were, I mean, so much. Even if this is over in, I don't know, a day. No, not a day, but if this is over in a month. This is over in another 4 weeks, which I highly doubt. We are looking at a lot of problems, especially when it comes to, and I'll circle this back to wrestling. You look at wrestling, and wrestling is a very physical sport, and people, for the most part, are in very close contact of each other. Now, we've yet to hear, at least publicly, that there has been any case of COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, in a professional wrestling setting. Now, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but it's, I've got some bad news for you. The first, and I don't even think it has to be WWE, the first wrestling company that has any sort of report or any sort of finding of someone in their locker room having coronavirus will kill it for everyone. Everything indefinitely will be canceled. I mean, you are gonna see some, it's gonna get crazy with contracts and money and the haves and the have-nots, and and if that happens with professional wrestling. Now, Vince is the show must go on. Well, the show can't go on if everybody's infected and Florida, I mean, yeah, people like to call us here in California, oh, we're just snowflakes, we're just soft, and then we're so woke. It's also because we're way ahead of the curve on a lot of things, including intelligence compared to most states. Just a little, thing there. In all fairness, though, I think that California started shutting everything down and possibly even instituting a curfew here is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But, again, that's going to keep wrestling organizations from wanting to work here. It is pretty much inevitable that until this thing is over, professional wrestling in California, it's on rocky grounds. I don't think it's over, but I do think it's going to be a difficult sell to a lot of people. And, Gavin Newsom already said any gatherings of 250 people or more is off limits. So, again, it's going to be a tough sell. And as we continue through this process, it's going to be even more of a tougher sell. So I don't know what else to really say to that. And then I'm hearing too that, oh, Trump wants to send everybody checks for $1,000. How is that going to change anything when I'm hearing you can't even get anything delivered anymore from UPS or even USPS potentially because of coronavirus concerns? Like, they do not want to deliver anything. So, yeah, unless we ourselves want to go out there and expose ourselves to spend said money, you see my point here? I don't know if that's the best way to get the market going. I don't know if there's any way you can get the market going. I think at this point you got to take your losses, which are going to be bountiful and plenty. Your cup will runneth over with losses. I guarantee that. But there's nothing to be done about it. Everybody's hurting right now. Everybody. There's nothing you can do. So, I mean, what really wrestling-wise can anyone do about this? Nothing. This is something where, unfortunately, government is very much, you got to look at the World Health Organization a little bit like, you guys did what now? And this administration did what with the people that were in charge of pandemics? I believe they got rid of them. So, okay, that might have been a big mistake, okay? And, I don't normally go after people in politics and things like that, because I know you're going to get heat for that, but at this point, Trump looks like the biggest idiot on the planet. So, and so do all of his billionaire friends, too, because this was going to happen. We were literally headed for a problematic, reconstruction of how our economy works. This may be it. And when I say that, I mean what the kick in the teeth that this country needed to, stop having China build everything for us. Like, we didn't have enough respirators for people to use. Like, respiratory devices are a big flipping deal in a hospital. And to say you don't have enough, that's a problem. So, I'm glad that, we're starting to look at those things now as a bigger deal. We don't want to end up like Italy and have no hospital beds and not enough respirators and having to choose who lives and dies. I don't think any doctor ever wants to do that, because their whole shtick is do no harm. It's really not a shtick, it's just what they live by. I think that this whole situation, it sucks. I mean, I'm even hearing this is hitting video games. Like, not that I care one way or the other, but Masahiro Sakurai, who's the head of Nintendo Japan, has said that things have been delayed and pushed back because of concerns of coronavirus. And then the people at What Culture Pro Wrestling and the What Culture website are having to film from their hotel, or from their, I guess, apartments or whatever, because they can't use the studio. I mean, this has gotten way out of hand. Like, too much has been lost because of this. Now, nobody knows where this came from. I also want to point that out before I go. Nobody knows exactly where the epicenter of this is. Yeah, some people are saying China. I have yet to see proof as to why that is. So, but why would China be where it originated and then have Italy be the hardest hit? Now, Italy admittedly was hit hard because they have a lot of elderly people in their population. People do live longer there, but at the same time, Italy's a long way away from China. So again, what's going on here? Where did this thing start? Because it's bad. Then I feel really bad for Australia. I mean, not only did that place get half burnt down only a few months back, but now you're having to deal with the coronavirus? I mean, my heart goes out to you guys. Jesus. You know, that's a lot to go through in a year. And, you know, I feel really bad also for China, because you're sitting there. I mean, we all know what happened with the protests in Hong Kong, and now this, you know. It's like those guys can't catch a break. And then it's like the United States. We're in a political year. We're trying to do and work on free and fair elections, as the last one in 2016 was not so bueno. And, you know, we have a virus that pretty much stifles everything. I mean, it has gotten to points where I don't even know what's going to happen. But I will say this, it's going to be a rough patch of weeks here. We'll see what the response is to this whole thing. But in the meantime, like I've said, be courteous to people out there. We are in this together. We have the power to either bring each other up or tear each other down. And I think we should bring each other up in this time. So, and if this is my one way of doing it, then you know, let's do that. And this is what I can do, you know. Just be courteous, don't hoard, you know, and don't sit there and treat people disrespectfully. And when I say that, I mean use social distancing. I don't think, I mean, in some places, yeah, it's going to be more difficult than others, but that doesn't mean I want to smell what you had for breakfast this morning either. So, and it's a very difficult time for everybody, but let's unify each other by getting through this together. And then when it's over, we can all tear each other apart about what we do and don't agree with. Well, for Sacktown Slam, I am Gary Maloney, and I am signing off.